good students. I'm welcoming you to Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. I'm taking government and I'm going to discuss with you today that interesting topic, among others, that you have learned, and I believe with our discussion you get to understand more things as we move on.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
We are going to look at under government, that's interesting topic. Join me for the discussion. We want to look at organs of the UNO, United Nations Organization. It is an understatement to say UNO has performed or has achieved without looking at those organs, offices that were created that has made it possible. Before we go on, let us look at the objectives that we want to derive as far as this topic is concerned. We are going to look at the following as objectives, of which at the end of the lesson we will try to achieve. Number one, list organs of the United Nations Organization, UNO. 2, discuss organs of the UNO. And 3, state functions of the organs of UNO. Let's take it one after another. Organs of UNO are of 6 in number. The first one is the highest decision-making organ called the General Assembly. The General Assembly. Like I said, it is the highest decision-making organ. Each member state has 5 representatives. That is, for example, Nigeria is a member of UNO. The Assembly has a Nigerian in the membership. But it is comprised, not because it's comprised of the members alone, all of them contribute to the achievement of its aims and objectives. They meet annually at the headquarters in New York, USA, United States of America. What are the functions of this organ? Number 1, this is the organ that appoints the general as a secretary or secretary general, so to say, and other important officers. It deliberates issues or conflicts that involve member states or countries. It's the organ that considers reports from the Secretariat. Any report that comes to New York office of the Secretariat, this is the organ that will consider the report. Then, the Assembly also approves the annual budget of the UNO in terms of funding. Whatever is the financial stand, what are the things to do that has to do with finance or funding, will come to the General Assembly for approval. The second organ is named the Secretariat. Like I said, head office of UNO is located or is sited in New York, USA. And that is where you have the office of the Secretary General. This organ is the administrative office of UNO. What are the functions performed? 1, all correspondences, documents, information that gets to the office of UNO is handled by the Secretariat. Preparation of annual report is another point as functions of the Secretariat, which means at every year, annually, all the reports that goes to the office of the Assembly is prepared by the General Secretariat. Then it implements the programs and policies of the UNO, including the budget. When budget is prepared and approved by the General Assembly, it is the Secretariat that will implement it, including all programs and policies. Don't forget, the objective of UNO is to maintain, the main objective is to maintain peace in the world. And this will require programs that are put in line for them to pursue to ensure that there is peace and security. So the programs that are lined up will be implemented by this organ. And like the picture suggests, currently we have the Secretary General of the organ in person of Antonio Guterres from Portugal, who has been doing a great job to make sure the objective of UNO is achieved, working with other people from all over the world. We have the Security Council. This organ is assumed to be the most powerful of all organs of the UNO. Why powerful? The objective of UNO is to maintain peace and order in the world. Anywhere there is crisis, uprising, conflicts, it is the responsibility of UNO to make sure peace is maintained and sustained. Therefore, there is the need at times to come up with a force to make sure this war or crisis does not break out. In essence, we have the permanent members. These were allied forces who were there together at the formation of UNO. When the Second World War broke out between 1939 and 1945, these were the people in front that gathered troops to make sure the war was stopped. As a result of what happened when Germany, Italy, as well as Japan were trying to see how they could get it done, so that other territories were ruled by them. So all countries of the world gathered under these five. In 1945, precisely, 51 of them now signed an agreement that the war must stop, and it stopped. So that gave them the opportunity to be given the position of 5 permanent members of the Security Council. Anytime any of them raises a need for troops to be gathered, in front you have these 5 permanent members to take decisions. However, at a time when any of them decide and say no to a decision to be taken, that is a veto. That decision will be overruled, and it will not be, it will not be allowed to operate. Therefore, there are other 10 non-permanent members. At the time, Nigeria, a Nigerian was a member of the non-permanent membership of UNO. These ones assist the 5 permanent members to work to ensure that there is peace in the world. The issue that we have now, where you have Russia versus Ukraine, the one of Palestine and the Israelites or Israel, they are still on it, trying to make sure there is peace, so that it will not come to another war. And thanks, we have not had a third world war in the world. What are the functions of the Security Council? Number 1, to ensure and maintain world peace and security. You and I know that would be number 1, because that is the main objective of UNO. Number 2, Security Council selects and recommends candidates for the post of Secretary General. Yes. It involves in peaceful settlement of disputes between member states. It is not about war. There is an adage that says if you go to war, you still come back to round table for jaw. In essence, where there are conflicts and crises, it's the responsibility of the Security Council to try to settle the disputes by peaceful means among member states. Then it determines measures to restore international peace. Yes, what are the measures to put in place in order to bring the peace? Not just using force. Any other measures that will not bring more problems. It is the responsibility of the Security Council to effect it. You can get to write more in your exam, depending on how many you are asked to write, as far as functions of the Security Council is concerned. The next organ of UNO is Economic, Social, Economic and Social Council. It is called ECOSOC as acronym or in abbreviation. This is made up of 27 members elected by General Assembly. Don't forget, General Assembly, we said, is the highest organ among all other organs, which not only approves the appointment of a General Assembly, it also elects the members of ECOSOC. And this is to say that the members are elected to sign for a period of 9 years each. What are the functions of Economic and Social Council? Number one is coordinate the activities of the UNO specialized agencies and give reports to the General Assembly. In another discussion for another day, we may have to talk about specialized agencies of the UNO. Some of them, the names are familiar with us, or we are familiar with the names. Some of them, we might have been hearing, some we may not have heard before. Like we have UNICEF, WHO, World Health Organization, during the time of Ebola or COVID-19. These are organs, agencies that came out through UNO to make sure they try to see how to, see that the peace of, the diseases is wiped out in our world countries. So the specialized agencies, like I said, we have ILO, National Labour Organization. We have FAO, Food and Agricultural Organization, and so on and so forth. In fact, we have the World Bank, IMF, that gives loans to countries of the world. These are specialized agencies of affairs. So whatever they do, they give their reports on a yearly basis. And these reports go to through the ECOSOC to the General Assembly. It carries out research on economic, education, health, social matters, and so on. Every aspect of life that needs to be researched on or look at in terms of technology and sciences. This is the organ that works for the UNO to make sure it is done in the area of economy, in the area of education, health, social matters, and so on and so forth. The whole world is changing, dynamic, and things are going more complex than before. They need to make a research and look at what is the next thing, or next line of action in case there is an issue coming up or crisis coming from that area. ECOSOC is always there to do that. It recommends promotion for respect for human rights of all people. Yes, promotion for respect for human rights. Human rights statement was declared in 1948 that states what are the privileges and freedom that people of the world have. So this organ, ECOSOC, recommends how to promote fundamental rights so that rights of people of the world will not be abused. ECOSOC has been in charge for UNO. The next organ is ICJ, International Court of Justice. As the name suggests, in your SS1 syllabus or scheme, you are familiar with judiciary as the third organ of government that interprets the law, that punishes law offenders and makes sure that law is not broken. The same or similar thing ICJ does. When there are issues between or among countries of the world that are member nations of UNO, this is where they go. That is the World Court, the apex court in the world. As we have our courts in Nigeria, talk about area courts, high courts, Sharia courts, to the appeal courts or Supreme Court. This is the highest court of the world. Any country have an issue, or countries have issues among or between themselves, they go there. At the time Nigeria had an issue with Cameroon, it was a case of fight for land in Bakassi Peninsula. In between Nigeria and Cameroon, that issue of land was not resolved until the World Court decided and was able to douse the tension. That is International Court of Justice for you. It contains or consists of 15 judges as members, elected once again by the General Assembly. Don't forget, General Assembly has membership represented from all over the world, all heads of state or their representatives from General Assembly. Our president currently is a member of General Assembly. Then they served for 9 years and could be re-elected. As a matter of note, historically, 2 Nigerians, Justice Teslim Elias and D.A. Onyama, were at one time or another members of this organ, ICJ. Thanks that Nigerians have been found in good places all over the world. And UNO is not an exception. Functions of ICJ include to maintain judicial organ. It is the main judicial organ of the UNO. It is the main organ of the UNO when it comes to judicial matters. 2, it hears and settles disputes between member countries. Like I give you an example of Nigeria and Cameroon. It gives legal advice to the UNO and the specialized agencies on legal matters. UNO, this is how to go about this when it has to do with law and legal issues. And all other specialized agencies that I mentioned, WHO, ILO, FAO, the World Bank, when they have issues on legal matters, this is the organ that advises them. Social Council. This is another organ. We need to talk about it in a short way because it's a long story. Trustship Council was an organ created after the Second World War. Some countries were not still free. They were not still independent. Some of them were still under some of the countries that captured them. So they were made to be under the UNO, but UNO created this organ to allow them for some time to become independent, after which they will not be part of UNO membership. Mention could be made of Namibia, Southern Rhodesia, Zimbabwe. As at that time, they were not fully independent. So some officials were placed there to administer these countries or territories. So the council was created to monitor the activities of the people that were given the mandate to work and make sure these territories were not colonized again until when they give them independence. It is made up of 5 permanent members of the UNO: Britain, France, China, Russia, and the USA. Then they were elected to serve for 3 years period. So the functions, like I mentioned, to supervise the administration of the trust territories, Namibia, Southern Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe, a good example. To promote economic, social, and political development of people of trust territories. Those areas or territories, they were to promote them to develop economically, socially, and politically until they gave them independence. Finally, to receive reports from the states that are administering the trust territories. Like I told you, there were state officials that were given the responsibility to carry out in those trust territories. They needed to monitor their activities, and these ones will report back to the UNO through the Trustship Council. For now, this is how we are going to end the discussion. Till another day.
Acing your WAEC and NECO examinations has been made easy by the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education with the Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO Candidates television program. Join seasoned teachers as they take you through these core subjects, targeting the exact syllabus of WAEC and NECO. Watch Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates through these social media platforms to access more educational content and give their feedback. Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. Pass your examinations with flying colors.
Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
Let's look at these questions for your practice. Based on what we have discussed today, let us look at number 1. List the organs of the United Nations Organization. I know if you go back to what we have discussed, you should be able to answer this. B. State 3 functions each of the following organs of the UNO. 3 functions of General Assembly. 3 functions of the Security Council. However, the probable solutions to this, in terms of answers to them, let's look at it. There are 6. These are just 3. From the other 3, you can pick during the examination condition. It does not mean you must write only this. You must write this. Other 3 are also applicable. They can also go as answers. The Secretariat, Economic and Social Council, ECOSOC, as well as Social Council. That answers that for 1A. 1B, 3 functions each of the following organs of UNO. General Assembly, you can pick any of others among the 6 or 5 given to you earlier. The 3 that are here: to deliberate issues or conflicts involving member states, to consider reports from the Secretariat. The Assembly also approves the annual budget of the UNO. These 3 can go as solutions to the question as functions of General Assembly is concerned. The Security Council, 3 functions: to ensure and maintain world peace and security. It selects and recommends candidates for the post of Secretary General. And finally, it involves in peaceful settlement of disputes between member states. My dear students, I want to believe with the little we have been able to explain today, and we have had a good discussion of the topic, organs of UNO. If any area from where questions come, we'll be able to do justice to be able to answer it. If you have any question, comments, or suggestions to give, feel free to send it to any of our social media handles as displayed on the screen. I want to thank you for being with me. See you another time. Take care and be safe.